Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here with my review for The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 11, Metamorphosis. If you're wondering why I'm the weirdo wearing a Doctor Strange robe, it's because this is a 420 review. I am high, hence the baked sushi. Love this episode. I think this was my favorite episode in the whole season. I loved how it started because, especially the last big game I played was Dead Space, which you guys can check out on my channel, by the way. And I love it. Horror is my favorite genre. Dead Space is always one of the greats. The remake is absolutely amazing if you haven't played it. If you can handle scary stuff, I highly recommend it. So it's starting off that way where it's like, it's just a ghost ship pretty much. And there's like one lone survivor. I was like, yep, I like this. It started off horror. I'm sure there are people just loving the day because the Republic Commandos were in an episode. I know people were losing it. I think it was the season one finale when they originally came in and people were just like, holy crap, they're back. I never played the game as a kid, so I don't have like that super deep attachment, but I know that's one of the greats as far as like Star Wars games. And I just know that from, the buzz around it. So I'm sure some people were just loving today. I think this is the first time we've seen an animated, I guess it would be a commander general or something like that. So I thought that was cool. I actually really liked the design. I was like, that's actually pretty sick. I don't think there's ever been anything with that before. I could be wrong. I know there were colors in it. I don't know if that color was in the game, I guess, but I never saw that from the glimpses I got of the game, but it could have been in there. It could be like old stuff brought back, but I like the, I guess, general design. I thought that was pretty cool. So it's great to see them as like the main force in this episode, but the way they handled it was fantastic. It went from horror to basically like Godzilla a little bit. And then the episode got incredibly deep when they started talking about what this creature does. And I could be real crazy theorizing, but I think they even hinted in the episode, this creature is going to be like peeled apart, like its skin. They talked about like its reflective armor, really good armor. I think the energy absorption that the creature has is going to be like somehow genetically intertwined with like the construction of like the beam for the Death Star. I think it's like basically for the satellite so it can like hold the energy, because I'm like, that's a really interesting thing. It's like, and it could just be armor, that could just be the case, but I was like, it's a super secret thing. I know it involves cloning, so it might not have anything to do with the Death Star, but at the same time it was kind of ordered ahead of time. It was like, yeah, it was before he was even the Emperor, and it was like, just like how they've been planning stuff like the Death Star before he was even the Emperor. So I'm like, I think this thing is like a weird new element of the Death Star. It's like the genetic component that allows them to basically channel the beam. I could be completely wrong. I'm obviously making that up based on the fact that it absorbs, it's lightning. They'll, something Star Warsy, and then poof, it can shoot laser beams. And I'm like, it seems very interesting and like a really beautiful way to have the connection, even more so in the show, going from the clones and cloning and all of that stuff into, what the Empire was in the original series. And I was like, it's like another little bridge in the gap where they're moving from clone troopers to the Death Star. And it's like, that's very interesting. Once again, making it up in my head, but I was like, that is very interesting. And especially the way that it went, where it ends and it's like, oh, this is our new villain. He had an amazing opening. I didn't realize that's who he was going to be. I figured, oh, he's just the villain of the episode. And then it ended and I was like, oh, this is our new guy, because the old guy just got arrested. So I guess this is our new villain. And I actually like him. He's definitely like the calm villain. I think he already has more presence. I don't remember the last guy's name. I'm always bad with names, but I never felt like he did much. I felt like he never got the opportunity. And then this guy comes along and he's kind of the same, where he gives like the slow speech, but this guy just, I don't know what it is. For some reason, I guess the fact that his first line was him talking to a prisoner. And then the second thing at the end was like, okay, we'll give you freedom in order to get this information. Like, that's how important and secret this stuff is. He just feels way more important already, because he's already in like a different class with some super crazy secret mission. This guy instantaneously was like, he's cooler. He's way cooler than the last guy. I was like, this guy feels like he's an actual threat. He feels like he has power, and he's like the boss over this super secret thing, which may or may not be related to the Death Star, but that's how it felt. And that's the theory I'm going with, because it makes the episode even better. Plus, the beam that they hit the monster with was, it was kind of like the dish. It was kind of like a dish. I mean, obviously it was sticking out, but it was like that. I don't know. That makes me think of the Death Star. So all theories, of course, but the character was good either way. So even if I'm completely wrong, fantastic introduction. Whatever this secret thing is, even if it doesn't really bridge the gap and that's not what they're using this creature for, we'll see what happens. But either way, he seems like a much cooler villain, because he has something secret going on. And now we got the Kaminoan guy. He came back and I was like, okay, so he's giving her up. And it's like, now they're going to talk about going after the team, who of course they came in guns blazing, and it was like, they're trying to take this thing down. Just 6 ships just swooped down on them and just start blasting. I was like, They were just like, kill everybody. They arrest the whole town. That was something else that we don't really see too often, where it's just like, all right, this really big thing just happened. Everybody's gone. Like, if they saw the dragon, they're dead. I'm just going to call it a dragon. But if they saw the thing, they're dead. Everyone else is just like, you shut up, you move away, you go somewhere else in the galaxy. And it's like, that's the Empire. Like, we don't see that where, you know, it was small enough that it could happen, but it was also big enough to still be like, man, that was like a whole thing on the side of a village. Their power got destroyed and those people have been dispersed potentially forever. And now it's like, that's just an abandoned village in like out in the galaxy somewhere. And it's like, that's what the Empire can do. And that's what they did in this episode. Whole town arrested. And it was like, that's actually really scary. Like, it was just, once again, it's what I was thinking of. I was high watching the episode, so maybe that's why I got like all this extra story in my head. But that's what it was like. It was like, they took everything, everybody's gone, anyone who saw it is dead. And it's like, all right, everyone else, it's not like they have to pay them to hush up. They're the Empire. It's just leave. You know, they'll give them like 1,000 credits and you go on your way, and that's life now. So that was interesting. Got a lot of good stuff in this one. Epic new villain. As far as I'm concerned, I think he's really cool. Diving more into the cloning stuff, I'm excited for that because that is kind of the big crux that this show has. They even, you know, reference Echo and Rex in this one because of the information they got with all the cloning stuff. And it's like, we stumbled onto something big. And so now we're moving into, oddly enough, the next phase, even though I don't know how many episodes we have left, but I'm like, man, I feel like we're more than halfway through it. And then it's like, it feels like this could be like a season premiere, really. So we'll see what happens. Excuse me, cottonmouth. We'll see what happens ultimately, but I like the new guy. I like what they did throughout the episode. Horror is great. Just, we need more Star Wars horror. That was really fun. So we got a little bit of horror. We got a little bit of Godzilla, which is always fantastic. We got like, obviously a theory, but some super secret thing that at the very least we know for a fact it has to do with extra cloning, at least of this creature. And then it's like, well, why are they doing that? So very cool. I love the fact that they also say like, this is the creature that like attacked Naboo in the war. Like, that's actually really cool. So I was like, all right, this thing is not a joke. Like, once they say that, it's like, oh, it destroyed a place that we kind of know. So I was like, all right, that's very interesting. So also I assume that was some super old war, unless it was like the very recent Clone Wars, but they never really touched on that. So I don't think that's the case. All things considered, I don't think that's the case because we go there and everything seems fine during Padme's funeral. So I assume it's like an older war because I'm like, well, it didn't happen during the Clone Wars. So, you know, I mean, maybe they did, you know, there's a million comments. It could have been somewhere else where it actually did happen and they rebuilt. And that's another extra nerd step that I have to take. But I'm like, I don't know what war they're discussing, admittedly, but it sounds cool. Great war, crazy monster. I understood the concept. So I like the creature. I like the design. I like this new mystery and the new villain surrounding it. And I'm looking forward to what we get coming up next. I'm actually really excited because I love this episode. It's not just that I'm going on the hype. I haven't watched The Mandalorian yet. I was saving it, so did this review. Also got something special for that review. I've been saving. That's going to be good. Definitely check out that review for the premiere. But this is definitely a fun episode. I think for sure it was my favorite one just because of everything tying together the way that it did. Maybe I'm right. And if I am, that's really cool. It just seemed like the obvious thing that they were kind of doing where it's like they kind of need to clone the creature to get it, and it's like, it's more than armor, it's going to be something in there. So clone it a bunch, get a bunch of, I guess it wouldn't be metal plating, but you know, do all that. Death laser, just saying, it's in there somewhere. They're going to put an organic element into the I was about to say just the death ray, but the Death Star, the ray from the Death Star. So we'll see what happens with the beam, actually. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely love this episode and all of its little facets, but would love to know what you guys thought about it. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. I would love to know if you guys think I'm crazy, but everything was just like Death Star. That's all I thought of. Like, this is like a genetic thing for the satellite to actually shoot the beam. Obviously just made that up, but I was like, it's Star Wars. That would be a really cool connection. And it adds an organic element of something really crazy. And like I said, it bridges a little gap. It's a direct transition because of cloning that helped create the next stage. It's like, it's a perfect fit for the story. It'll be really cool to see. Just a great connection. So I could be wrong, but I hope I'm right, because that's just a really cool way to connect the series. You know, kind of the through line of all of it, all of, you know, Star Wars. So that's on me, but would love to know your thoughts on that theory at least. And I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.